For a couple minutes here, let's talk about where they're at currently in the All-Star break. I got a couple questions for you, Horwat, but before that, let's do a little bit of maintenance here. Let's talk about where they're at, some of the stats that they have going on. 27, 11, and 8 on the season is good for third in the Metropolitan Division, but good for sixth in the National Hockey League as of right now. They have lost 4 straight games, 3 of them, however, coming in overtime and getting that loser point as well. The big issue with those 4 games and that 4-game losing streak are the only goals coming from Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Brian Rust, and Jake Gensel. So that's where they're at right now. You look at their special teams, their power play is now up to 22.1%, good for 11th in the National Hockey League. They were 13th before their game on Tuesday. Their penalty kill has dropped a little bit to 87.5%, but that's good for second in the National Hockey League. Looking at their leading scorers going into the All-Star break, Jake Gensel is leading them with 46 points in 40 games, including 23 goals, which is also leading the Pittsburgh Penguins. Letang is in second with 42 points and 41 points, I should say, in 42 games played. Then Sidney Crosby with 40 in 34. Fourth place is a tie between Rodriguez and Rust, although Rust has only played in 24 games and Rodriguez has played in 46. Lastly, before we get into the questions, the injuries the Penguins currently have. Danton Heinen day-to-day, we would expect him to come back next week, probably in that first game against the Boston Bruins, especially if he was day-to-day and he's coming off of a week off. Jason Zucker is week-to-week, still coming off of that core muscle surgery. And Teddy Bluger will be out 4 to 6 more weeks with his broken jaw. So with all that in mind, that is where the Pittsburgh Penguins are. I'm losing my breath right now, so I'm going to ask you the question, let you take it from here. What does this team need to focus on the most post-All-Star break?
You know what? It's finding that depth scoring again. It's finding the defensive contributions because the top 6 is going to do their thing. They're going to continue to grow their game, continue to score goals, get points, and help this team win. Now it is the bottom 6's turn. It's that would be my main focus. Sure, it's inconsistent with the amount of injuries and protocol situations that may arise, but at the same time, Evan Rodriguez was the cult hero of this team early on. He's got 2 points in 12 games?
Something like that, yeah.
Something stupid like that. Out of nowhere, he's ice cold. We mentioned regression to the mean with him. All of a sudden, it's far below the mean.
Yeah.
We've discussed Kasperi Kapanen and we'll continue to discuss his downfall until he is out of here. That just hurts to see, especially with him being on the top 6 now. That's just so not ideal. I mean, top 6 now, give that time, that won't happen.
Yeah.
But it's not that the bottom 6 isn't trying. I thought the fourth line during the Capitals game had some good chances, had some good opportunities, which is shocking for a line with Dom Simone. But Brian Boyle's driving play on that line and in games that he during his might be minimal, but during his ice time, he seems to get chances. I can think of 1 or 2 in the Capitals game itself that they're all fill-in guys. Dom Simone, not Aston Reese, but Dom Simone and Brian Boyle are technically fill-in guys on this team, but seem to be doing okay. Dom Simone, not as much. We could use someone else maybe, but Brian Boyle's driving play, and I love watching him on this team and come close to at least producing and just needing a bounce maybe here or there. And Aston Reese just straight up does not score. But you know what? I guess that's not what he's here to do. But when your bottom 6 isn't doing jack shit, something has to give. And at least that line looked okay for the Capitals game. Now it's just a matter of kicking Carter back into gear, kicking Rodriguez back into gear. And Brock McGinn is okay. I think for Brock McGinn, this is like, despite him not having a goal or a point in a little while, I feel like we didn't expect that much. I don't think.
We expected 10 to 15 goals. I think he has 9 on the season already.
Yeah.
So
the issue is we expected 10 to 15. Well, he's about to hit 10 at the halfway point. That doesn't mean he should stop. Now we're expecting 20. That's just that point. But I think it's the main focus going into the second half, the back half of the season really should not only be, but the big one should be getting that bottom 6 going again. If it involves a trade or hell, maybe a healthy scratch and a call up, go for it. I mean, Zahorna is already here and is playing. I said he looked okay in the Kings game. didn't notice him as much in the Capitals game. It's just a matter of finding the right bounces. But if it takes a call up, if it takes giving Kasper Bjorkquist a longer chance at maybe finding some space, who knows? But something's got to give on that bottom six to really get this team over the hump again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say something, and it might not be taken too well by our listeners or by Pittsburgh fans alike, but Dom Simone has performed better in his role than Kasperi Kapanen has this season. That's just a plain fact. Dom Simone
That
has
is a
been,
plain fact, yes,
yeah,
because
and
Dom Simone's role is bottom line, not to cut you off, but Dom Simone's role is bottom line, and he's doing a good job there. Kasperi Kapanen's role is Malkin's winger, and he can't do shit there.
Yeah. So for those who are saying that, hey, to fix this team, to fix the bottom six, just get rid of Dom Simone. Why? He's doing fine. Get rid of a guy like Kasperi Kapanen, who's supposed to be much better, supposed to be taking a larger role, supposed to be accounting for more goals and more percentage of the points scored, and he's not. So as much as I don't like Dom Simone, which I'm not a big fan of his, he does what he does well, and he's being used properly by Mike Sullivan this time. So I don't hate the fact that he's in the lineup. Is he in the lineup when he's fully healthy? No. But is he doing better than what Kasperi Kapanen is doing at their respective roles? Yeah. And it's not that close right now. I think the performance speaks for itself for both of them. So my answer for this, what do they need to focus on? Get healthy and stay healthy. I know that's always a thing. You mentioned the fact that the bottom six needs to get better. Well, it'll get a lot better if you're having guys like Danton Heinen play down there. If you're having a guy like Jason Zucker in there. So I understand that, yes, you're going to get kind of a regression from your bottom six, but get healthy. I mean, luckily the defense, it's been the same six guys, and there was a little bit of a threat on Tuesday to possibly miss one of these guys, but the defense has been the same defense core. They've seen the same exact lineup since November. They've stayed healthy. If somehow the forwards can get to some modicum of that, or maybe just one guy out, then I think that's going to be a huge thing to focus on. Just make sure that you're maintaining your health, make sure you're getting back to healthy, because you see the difference that Teddy Bluger makes to this lineup being out. You need a guy like that in the lineup. So you need to get healthy. You need to stay healthy then. That's what's going to help them the most heading towards the postseason and down the main stretch here.
Yeah, that is. And yeah, it's getting healthy is just, you're just beating the old drum again.
Yeah.
We're still on this. We thought maybe we're inching back. We might finally have a chance if just before we found out Zucker had core muscle surgery. Hey, we're only missing Zucker at this point. We're getting there. And 6 to 8 weeks because of a broken jaw to Teddy Bluger. And back to not playing a single game with a fully healthy lineup. Who are we? Is it just John Marino at this point? He's played every game?
John Marino and Evan Rodriguez.
He is the other one, but if he doesn't score, that one might not last long. Because once Evan Rodriguez stops scoring, I'm treating him like old Evan Rodriguez again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone can pop off for a good amount of goals to start a season, but if you go back to your former self, then that's how you're gonna get treated. I don't care if that consistency isn't there. Until you prove you can be consistent, that's how I'm gonna treat you.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I can't think of a comparable because that's just a hard thing to find of someone who was just exploded for a short amount of time and then went back to nothing. But yeah, that's just the way it works. You are who you are in this league. Unless it's goaltending, we have an idea of how you can perform on the ice.
So that's actually a pretty good segue to the next question I have, and that is, who has been the biggest surprise up to this point? A couple months ago, or maybe even a couple weeks ago, everybody's answer to this would have been Evan Rodriguez. But now, since his regression to the mean, and as you mentioned earlier, maybe even below the mean, who to you has been the biggest surprise to this point? Mine is Tristan Jarry. I mean, 23 wins. That's good for 5th in the National Hockey League. A .923 save percentage. That's good for 6th in the National Hockey League. 2.21 goals allowed average. That's 4th. 3 shutouts is 5th in the NHL. And a 10.61 goals saved above average. That's 4th in the National Hockey League. So he is top 5 to top 6 in all of these very important categories. I didn't think he was going to suck. I didn't. I did not expect him to be this good and to be this important to the team. This guy is the main reason this team is where they're at. Obviously, Jake Gensel is a big help. Sidney Crosby starting to pop off. Chris Letang, for the most part, has had a really good season. Malkin's been great since he's returned. Rodriguez is what he is. But Tristan Jarry is the main key to this team. The only reason that this team has been as good as they have been, and honestly, the only reason that this team has gotten points in 3 of the last 4 games, despite losing all of them.
Yeah, very true. Tristan Jarry, I think, are these Vezina caliber numbers we're looking at here?
I think they get him in the conversation, but I think you look around the league, especially at Igor Shesterkin, and he's not going to be able to compete with what Shesterkin's doing.
It's fair. You just hope one goes one way, one goes the other. I think it's possible he could be in that conversation, but just, you're right. He's the reason why we're staying in these games. He's the reason why we are able to collect points while he is giving up. What is this? A few games in a row now where it's been 4 goals?
Yeah, a couple, but at least this one, he actually had some defense. The games before that, he didn't have any help.
Exactly. He's got to get his help, though. That's the problem. It's like, sure, he's going to give up goals when he's not getting any help. You can't place that blame fully on Jarry. Sure, some of them maybe you want. Sure, some of them you might want to save.
Yeah.
But at the same time, give him some damn help so that shot doesn't have to happen. My biggest surprise, though, is the negative surprise of Kasperi Kapanen, and I'm not going to get off of this train until it's figured out, because at this point he probably has been, but we have finally seen that he's costing us games.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not that he looked like he was going to have a bad game yesterday. He looked fast. He was back with Malkin, maybe a trade tryout, who knows? But he looked quick. He seemed to be in the game, in the play, and showing that there could be something there. But then that overtime happened. Even before the giveaway, I was curious as to why he was given a shift at all. I don't know who else he put out there, honestly. Evan Rodriguez, I don't think got a shift, but maybe you use him, try and kick his gears back in.
Yeah, I'd rather see Rodriguez and Carter out there than Kapanen at all.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's just the whiff of a pass, which...
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
It happens. If they would have gone down and scored right away like they almost did, I would have... From the mountaintops, I would have been, I don't know why I said from the mountaintops. I would have been on the first Uber over to his place and started packing for him. But, I mean, it inevitably ended up being one of the big reasons why we lost anyway, because we never got the puck back. And also, why was he still out there?
Yeah.
That was the one thing. I think it was Josh Yohe tweeted out. Why was he out there for that long? That was a long time to be out there, even after the giveaway. Despite being out there at all. I think that's my biggest surprise, because we had everybody except for me, everybody said he was going to be the unsung hero of this organization this year. Hell no, is he not. He is the furthest thing from it this year. And like I said, he's finally showing that he's costing us games. An important one against the Capitals. Sure, in overtime, where we gave up a point to them anyway. But still, we could have used that extra point going into the All-Star break. Give us some confidence.
And it's always nice to be up 6 points on the Capitals for 4th instead of 3 points, which is where the Penguins do sit currently. But one last question before we give it over to the Hunter Hodes interview that we did. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. It's a lot of fun always when we have him on. But the one last thing I want to talk about, what is one crazy prediction that you can make for the stretch run post All-Star break?
Oh man, a crazy prediction. That's hard. I'm leaning towards saying somebody's going to be a goal leader or a point leader. But that's just hard to pick now because we're seeing what Brian Rust is doing. Jake Ensel was still a thing. Sidney Crosby's got a couple of goals to get to 500 and wants to take this team over still. My prediction is that Evgeny Malkin just doesn't slow down his pace, and that maybe this isn't the wildest prediction because it is Evgeny Malkin. But he's not going to he has not messed with the chemistry and will not mess with the chemistry of this team. Yeah. So I'm just going to say Evgeny Malkin pops off to be, where's he at in points right now?
13 and 12 games?
13 and 12. I'm in the wrong order on.
Yeah, he has 13 points in 12 games, including a 9-game point streak.
Already good for pretty high on this team in terms of points. 15th, but in 12 games. I
give it a week and he's going to jump a couple more players on that list.
Oh, for sure. He's already tied with Zucker, who, obviously injury, but is not playing well either. You know what? Here, I'm going to change my answer. I know I just started on this long tangent on Evgeny Malkin, but I bet Zucker comes back from injury and does something. There's my bold prediction.
There you go.
There's my hot take.
I like it. we have a current poll out there at Ice-Burgh Podcast. Go vote on it if you haven't already. Which player is most likely to be traded, or would you like to see traded? And Jason Zucker is far and ahead in first place. I don't agree with that at all, and we'll get into it on next Monday's episode when we talk about the Pens poll. But listen, Zucker, much better than Kapanen right now, because at least he does everything else correctly. As long as if he's not scoring, at least he does everything else the right way. Kapanen hasn't done much the right way. So I do like that prediction from you. For me, I already said Evgeny Malkin's going to lead the Penguins in scoring on Monday, so I'm not going to go with that. My bold prediction, my crazy prediction for post All-Star break, General Manager Ron Hextall is going to bring in a big defenseman at the deadline. I don't know. Klingberg is available. Chychrun is available. I don't know if it's going to be one of those guys, but I think he brings in a defenseman to help this team out. I don't know who goes out of the lineup. Probably a Chad Ruhwedel.
Yeah.
But I think if Hextall is going to bring in anything, a lot of people think it's going to be a forward. Maybe it's a defenseman. That's my bold prediction, my crazy prediction.
It doesn't need to be a forward. That's where I'm at. It doesn't necessarily need to be a forward. I mean, we're seeing Kapanen just eat up time when he shouldn't be. Sure, Zucker, despite me saying is going to play solid when he returns. He doesn't need the trade doesn't need to be a forward, because once fully healthy, we have a good forward core. We have names at least. I mean, Zucker and Kapanen may not be what they're supposed to be, but at least they're names, so we can kind of say, hey, there's a chance that they pop off and they are reliable again. Otherwise, you look around and it's a pretty solid lineup because everyone's been contributing. Evan Rodriguez, if he keeps like this, can be pushed out for someone who may have a better chance at this. A fully healthy lineup with the way that things are going for guys like Kapanen, Zucker, and Rodriguez, at least those three specifically, it gets interesting all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So while the trade doesn't need to be a forward, I like the idea of a defenseman because, sure, we're enjoying Chad Ruhwedel. He's not an 82-game-a-year guy.
I mean, he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been great either.
He hasn't been bad. It is hard playing with Matheson. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, true. Especially lately. Matheson lately has started to revert to massive mistakes and massive turnovers, so it doesn't help his case there. Yeah,
so we'll give Ruhwedel the benefit of the doubt and playing with Matheson, but at the same time, regardless of who he's playing with, Chad Ruhwedel isn't an 82-game-a-season guy. So picking up a defenseman sounds like a good idea. Sounds like the starting idea, because it doesn't have to be a forward. Sure, we want to see a forward out and maybe a defenseman in, or hell, a better backup goalie in while we figure out Louis Domingue. And if you were to tell me I could have someone else better than the two of them, I'm going for it. It's always like I've said before. If you want to trade Jake Gensel, sure, give me Connor McDavid back.
Yeah, yeah. At the
benefiting
biggest.
Everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be a crazy trade. But we're gonna take a quick break. When we return, maybe we'll run that by Hunter Hodes as he joins us here from the Locked On Penguins podcast, joining us here on the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast. Stay right there.